Hello and welcome to another episode of the Bible in 1 Year with the Preacher's Husband. Today we are talking about Joshua chapter 12, 13, 14, and 15. Tomorrow we're going to do chapters 16, 17, and 18 of Joshua. Today starts out talking about the territory east of the Jordan. It says that the Israelites struck down the following kings of the land and took possession of their land beyond the Jordan to the east. And on and on and on. And it lists all of these. And then we get to the area or the territory west of the Jordan that Joshua and the Israelites struck down, conquered, and took possession of. And they listed 31 of these kings. There were 31 kings that he beat. And they listed every one of them bad boys. But we get to chapter 13, the tone changes a little bit. Right here in verse 1 it says, Joshua was now old, advanced in age, and the Lord said to him, You have become old, advanced in age, but a great deal of the land remains to be possessed. So basically what God has said was, Joshua, you an old dude, man. You getting old. And you ain't really finished what you started. And Joshua looks and like, really, man? Really? I'm still tough. I still got it in me. I'm still just as tough today as I was when I started this. What are you talking about? Well, in all seriousness, the expression advanced in age establishes Joshua was at the end of his active life and his active military duty is essentially what it means. We know that Joshua doesn't die until he's 110 years old. Here, he and Israel both transition from military activity and attacking people to allotment of land. In other words, they're settling down. They're stopping the warmongering stuff and they're settling down. Despite the long list of towns and their kings who were defeated in chapter 12, the Lord confirmed that a great deal of the land still remained to be possessed. And God goes on to list all of them. And he lists them and lists them and lists them. And then we get halfway through verse 6 here. It says, God says, I will drive them out before the Israelites. Only distribute the land as an inheritance for Israel, as I have commanded you. Therefore, divide this land as an inheritance to the 9 tribes and half the tribe of Manasseh. And what that means is, relax, old dude, I got this, is what God is telling him. He's saying, dude, I got this. Don't worry about it. But hang on a second. Wasn't there 12 tribes and not just 9.5? Well, dividing the land, this is emphasizing the importance of dividing the land. And the 9 tribes and half the tribe of Manasseh excludes Reuben, Gad, and half of Manasseh, who received an allotment east of the Jordan River. So they were getting land west of the Jordan River, east of the Jordan River. These other three got land over there. So that's why they break that up there. So we get into the inheritance east of the Jordan. We get into verse 14. He did not, however, give any inheritance to the tribe of Levi. Remember the Levites. They didn't get any land. They just live off the offerings of all of the people that were in the land that owned it. Reuben, we talk about Reuben's inheritance, then we get into Gad's inheritance and East Manasseh's inheritance at the end of chapter 13. Now in chapter 14 we begin with Israel's inheritance in Canaan, and then in verse 6 we get to Caleb's inheritance. Now Caleb's inheritance was a little different. It says here, the descendants of Judah approached Joshua at Gilgal, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, said to him, You remember back in the days when I was a scout with you, and you and I gave this great report? Remember when all that happened? Everybody else was saying, no, we're all going to die, and you and me were like, dude, we got this, we can do it, we're gonna do this. Remember we said that? And once we did that, Moses and God said, you know what, because you guys did this, I'm going to give you this land and this hill country when all this is said and done. Well, verse 12, it says, Now give me this hill country the Lord promised me on that day, because you heard then that the Anakim are there, as well as large fortified cities. Perhaps The Lord will be with me, and I will drive them out, as the Lord promised." And Joshua agreed. Chapter 13, Joshua blessed Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and gave him Hebron as an inheritance. And then it goes on. We get to chapter 15 and we talk about Judah's inheritance, and then Caleb pops up again. And get this was kind of interesting about Caleb. He gave Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the following portion among the descendants of Judah, and he lists them. And in verse 14 it says, Caleb drove out from there the 3 sons of Anak. Remember, he talked about the Anakim. He was going to try to run them out. He did. He runs them out. And then verse 15, from there he marched against the inhabitants of Debir, which used to be called Kiriath Sepher. And Caleb said, "Whoever attacks and captures Kiriath Sepher, I will give my daughter Achsah to him as a wife." So Othniel, son of Caleb's brother, the son of Caleb's brother would be Caleb's nephew, captured it, and Caleb gave his daughter Achsah to him as a wife. So I found that kind of interesting. We get to the very end of chapter 15 and the very last verse. What do you think about this last verse? Verse 63, chapter 15. But the descendants of Judah could not drive out the Jebusites. The Jebusites, who lived in Jerusalem. So the Jebusites still live in Jerusalem among the descendants of Judah today. God said a lot of things about those that they couldn't defeat, those that they allowed to stay. What do you think about verse 63? I'm not going to add anything else to it. I'm just going to say, what do you think about that? The Jebusites, they were not able to run them out, and they're still living there with the Israelites in Jerusalem. Well, I hope to see you again tomorrow for another episode of the Bible in 1 Year with the Preacher's Husband. Again, tomorrow, Joshua 16, 17, and 18. Hit that like button, that subscribe button, and of course, click the little jingle bell so you can get notified the next time that I do a video, which will be tomorrow. I'll see you then.